Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Show. The show is about transforming lives one story at a time. And people from all walks of life are invited to come on and share their heart stories. They're stories of upliftment and transformation. And we ask everyone, we dare them to take their masks off and to reveal from their hidden selves stories, aspects of their lives that maybe they've never shared before, and maybe it's the time now to share with the world. And we receive it with so much joy and love. So our first guest is an amazing individual. Abina Gilbert is the founder of Share On, a charitable initiative created to honor the memory of her mother, Evelyn E. Huntley-McDonald. And Abina was 10 years old when her mother became a single mom. With 8 kids to care for, Evelyn was suddenly to the corporate world. She struggled to provide for Abina and her siblings while also protecting them and ensuring that none fell through the proverbial cracks. The generosity and kindness of people in the community that helped during these tough years with no ulterior motives has created a lasting impact on Abina, and this is her way of paying it forward. The Share On project began in January 2020 to address family hunger in Abina's hometown, Linden in Guyana, South America, and beyond. The recipients are single mothers who are experiencing financial hardship, and each month groceries are provided to pre-selected single mothers who are desperately trying to take care of their children, even though she's swimming in the vortex of poverty. Thank you so much, Abina. I really appreciate your time. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nikki, for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So I read a little bit about your bio, but if you could please share more about how you got to where you are now. What led you to this place?
Well, I was born in Guyana and spent most of my childhood there, Guyana in South America. And as you mentioned in my bio, at 10 years old, my mother became a single mom because my dad left us. So, and migrated to the U.S. So she had 8 kids to care for, and as you can imagine, it was a struggle. I recall her doing work at different people's homes, cooking for people, scrubbing their floors, and stuff like that. But what she did was try to make sure that we were protected, because I felt like her main duty in all of this was to ensure that we were safe. Yes. Because, as you know, there are many predators in the community, and when there's no male figure around, would want to use that opportunity to prey, but on the innocent. But for my mom, that's where I saw her strength. She committed to us, to providing for us, to protecting us, and I must say that none of us fell through the cracks. We all had an education. We all came through fine. So, but one of the things that struck me most about growing up in Guyana and having this struggle was the kindness of the people in the community. People reached out to us. People helped us, sometimes very surprisingly. I was always taken aback by that, because out of the blue, someone would come up and show up with a bag of groceries for us, would help us out in some way or the other. So that has created a lasting impact on me as an individual, as a woman myself. So for me, that is one of my guiding forces, the main reason for doing this project, to ensure that I paid forward, to ensure that I be that person to someone else.
Absolutely. And you don't very often see that in Canada so much, or maybe in other parts of the world. I've experienced it having, spent some time growing up in Jamaica, where people really embrace the idea of it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
And you wouldn't have that fear of leaving your child outside to play because you knew all the neighbors were watching.
Absolutely.
And as a child, it was like it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because if your parents were there, your neighbors would tell on you. Anyway, right? It's like you had parents watching you everywhere, and it's like you had to really mind yourself. But in the aspect of exactly, and but the caring too. If something happened, you could go and to the next door neighbor and they'd feed you, or if you fell down and hurt yourself and no one was around, they would nurse you. So
yes.
it's a wonderful thing to have, and I'm glad that you were blessed with it, and it left a great impression on you too.
It left an amazing impression. One of the things that stood out also is the fact that growing up in South America, you have all of these resources, if I can say, in terms of you have fresh fruits. In our backyards, there were like fruit trees that you can go and you can use. You can go to your neighbor's backyard and use their fruit trees, the fruits on their tree, pick it and have it in case you didn't have anything to. So there was this sense of community that I'm very, very proud of.
Excellent. And what it's done is it's shaped you into the woman you are now, and how you receive the world, right? And how you also give back, and leading to the Share On project. So can you tell us a little bit about what that entails, and just how you've been going about helping women in need, families in need?
Absolutely. Well, for the Share On project, first of all, if I can just share, I got the name. My mom was a stalwart in the Linden community back home in my home country in Guyana. Very unassuming, but a stalwart nevertheless. And when we sent stuff for her, when her kids or offspring give her stuff, what she would do is share 2/3 of it and keep 1/3 for herself, and said that is all she needed. And I think that's where we got the name Sharon, because we start teasing her and calling her Sharon because of the fact that she loved to share. So that's where I got the name from. And she was also very much involved in the community in the sense that she was a reverend, and being someone who was familiar with poverty, with lack, I think she was very, very much aware of how much that she understood that life is full of pitfalls, and that when helping hands reach out to those that are less fortunate, their sense of hopelessness and isolation can be mended. I think she focused on that a lot, recognizing, or just because she had that background where she had 8 kids to look after and didn't have much to. So this project is actually a continuation of the work she began while she was alive to help those in Linden and beyond. And our slogan is, she cared, we cared. And that is just to indicate that her work will continue. We plan to continue our work. That's our main goal, to continue her work, and hopefully for generations to come. So the mission of the go ahead. The mission of the Share On project, in addition to honoring our memory, we're trying to, as you mentioned in my bio, we're trying to alleviate the sufferings of families facing adversity and inspire others in the community to do the same. So what we're doing, in 2020, we have dedicated this year to address family hunger in Linden. So every month what we do is we provide groceries to a pre-selected mother who is just basically trying to take care of her kids. So these mothers, single mothers, what we look for, we want them to have children in school, probably up to age 14 or 15. Right. She must be working or willing to work to provide for herself and her children as best as she can, because that's what my mom did. And I am literally just using my mom as a template in order to pre-select these single mothers. And, of course, what we try to do is vet them thoroughly just to ensure that they are really deserving. And I work with a trusted partner back home in Guyana who literally used her personal vehicle to go pick them up, take them grocery shopping, and drop them back home. So how it works, if I can give you a little bit of background, is that it's currently being self-funded by myself as the creator of the project. And I send the funds back home to the trusted, in the trusted party's name, and they collect it and go take these mothers shopping. I also use 3 other individuals there to actually help with the vetting. Since they're on the ground and I'm not there, I wanted to make sure that I partner and align with people who are trustworthy and who will ensure that I have the right people to support.
Right.
So that's the first phase of it. And the second phase is actually begin in 2021. But this is also something that I'm currently looking at because the groceries, the bags of groceries that are given every month seem to be very popular, seem to be working. So I'm actually considering whether to continue that or to jump to the second half of the project, which was essentially to offering educational assistance to children in the community, school-age children in the community. And this is, for me, this is pretty important because for my mom, education was very, very important. So yes. I know that it's also critical. Education is a critical factor in a child's future, and it's a key to kind of interrupting the cycle of poverty. So I want to look at that from 2021. But we'll see, because the handing out the bags of groceries as it is right now is very, very effective. So I can either continue that for 2021 along with the offering of educational assistance or just do the bags of groceries all the time.
Okay.
But that's essentially where we are at right now.
Excellent. And I applaud your efforts and your team's efforts to enabling this wonderful contribution for families. Now, how has your life been transformed pursuing this passion project of yours?
That's a great question, actually. I came across a quote that really, really impressed me and it explains exactly the transformation that occurred. If I can read that quote to you.
Sure.
It says, I'm not sure who to attribute it to, but it says, when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds, your mind transcends limitations, your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents become alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person than you ever dream yourself to be. For me, that is what has happened since I started this project. I am especially, it's especially meaningful to me to hear the feedback that we receive from the recipients.
Yes.
There was the one for March. That one stood out just because she was nominated. And that's another thing about the Sharon Project. You can nominate yourself, someone can nominate you, or you can be just selected. Well, she was nominated by someone, and the person didn't tell her. And we selected her to be part of the project. And on that particular day, it so happened that she was really, really struggling about where she was going to find lunch money and food to provide for her kids for them to go to school. And then she got the call from us saying, we want to buy groceries for a month for you. She was almost brought to her knees in gratitude.
Wow.
She was so happy about receiving that. So stories like these, and our January recipient is particularly dear to my heart because she's a childhood friend and she's mentally challenged. Her mom passed away like 28 years ago. She's mentally challenged, and she has 7 children.
Mm-hmm.
The men, because she's vulnerable, the men in the community has repeatedly taken advantage of her. That's the reason why she ends up with 7 kids. Now, she has no support. So reaching out to her, it broke my heart hearing her story, first of all. But then I was so happy because she was so amazed that we remembered her.
Right.
And that she was not forgotten. She was happy that the community was reaching out to her. So for me, those are the things that I truly believe once you find your passion and your purpose, you can never go back to being mediocre. You can never go back to being seen. And for me, that's what I find has happened since that. There is I now have this clarity about what I need to do. And that for me is very key because I just don't want to have the Sharon Project only in Linden, in Guyana, but I wanted to spread to the rest of the country. I wanted to spread to the Caribbean, and I wanted to spread to the rest of South America. For me, that is the goal. Help as much persons, help as much single mothers who are really, really struggling as much as I can. So that is my aim.
Excellent, excellent. Abina, I wanted to ask you this before we conclude, and we've all been witnessing so much in globally, not only with COVID-19, but compounded now with an overt attack on someone's life, a tragic loss, George Floyd in Minneapolis. And I think it has outraged, I know it has outraged communities far and wide. Everyone collectively have protested. They're angry. They're grieving. As a Black woman, how are you processing what happened, and what do you think is going to be happening in the next 6 months? Now that we're in the half of the year is gone, what's going to unfold, do you think, for the latter part of 2020?
Well, first of all, just let me say that someone sent me the live stream of that video of the killing, and I was traumatized for the rest of my evening. Yes. The person that sent it to me, my first inclination was to lash out to them and say, why did you send this to me? Because I was so upset and so angry at seeing this. But then I took a step back and I called the person and I said, that was hard for me to watch. And the person was a male, Black male. And only then did he admit to me that he cried when he saw it. Yes. Now, the COVID-19 I was sharing with someone yesterday has created the perfect opportunity for the protest to be sustained. Because if we didn't have the COVID-19, people would not have had the time to go protest. And I firmly believe that the protests, like all the others that we had before, would have petered out and died after 2 days, 3 days. But the mere fact that this is sustained and it's on the world stage, people all over the world are seeing it, have seen it. People all over the world have joined in this protest. I believe that at this time, this particular situation, this instance, we're going to see significant change. And I know that it's already started, but I think this time here we're going to have lasting change. I believe it's a start of the conversation through deep meaningful conversation about some of the things and some of the ways we can address and really put processes and systems in place to address the inequalities and the fact that as Black people, we've been suffering for so long at the hands of the police. I think we are ripe for that. And I think that going forward for the next 6 months, we're going to see change, meaningful, lasting change occurring. For me, that's what I honestly feel. I am extremely grateful for the COVID-19 just because it has provided the opportunity for the protest to be sustained and for it to be addressed and acknowledged, not just by Black people, but by all segments of all sections of society.
Yes, absolutely. So, as you alluded to, this period of COVID-19, the quarantine has given many of us an opportunity to soberly reflect, and it also coincidentally, with all that happened in Minneapolis, gave people an opportunity because they were free now. Their time was freed up to go and to audibly to amplify their voices and to say enough is enough. So it all worked out for the greater good. Unfortunately, this had to happen. A life had to be taken, but it was a tipping point of no return.
Yes.
So I am a hopeless optimistic, and I do believe that this is a time now people need to stay awake and to do something, strategic measures put in place to eradicate systemic racism. So we'll definitely
agree.
Keep moving forward. Absolutely. Thank you. So, Abina, I would like to thank you for your time. Thank you so much for your incredible endeavors. And if people want to donate or volunteer their time or to even to connect with you one-on-one, how can they do that? How can they reach out to you on social media?
All right, so I currently have a website set up. I'm also now setting up my Facebook page and all the rest of social media. But for now, where they can reach me or how they can reach me is at www.shareonproject.org. So that's
okay.
If you want, I can read that over because
yes,
there
please.
is so it's https://
yes
the / www.shareonproject.org /
Okay.
And there they will find everything because I also have the email set up for donations, and we welcome donations of any form, and we welcome people to volunteer also to this project because, of course, as I mentioned before, my ideal situation or where I see us going is to expanding into the Caribbean and to South America. So we really would appreciate the donations, and if you want to volunteer with us, if you want to partner with us, align with us, for us to probably start a share-on project in your city, you can also reach out to us. Reach out to us via the website. It has all the information there, and we take it from there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Abina. Truly appreciate your time again, and I want to just remind everyone to please reach out to Abina. She has a website. She's also available on LinkedIn and some other locations, too, where you can reach out to her. She has a fantastic project, and it takes a village to keep this project going on, So everyone, please get involved. Abina Gilbert, the founder of Sharon on the Nikki Clarke Show, please reach out to her. Abina, again, thank you very much. Please stay strong, stay safe, and stay positive. And until we meet face-to-face, all the best.
Thank you so much for having me, Nikki. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.